later favourites from yesteryear, Mark Curry and Peter Duncan, dare to play pointless celebrities later at 5:40. Now though on BBC One, it's Final Score with Jason Mohammad.
Relegation. He was one of the heroes of the afternoon. Applause from the away supporters. The latest score is Wimbledon through to the Premier. John Terry's tears we all know. To a crucial week.
Good afternoon, welcome to Final Score at the start of a very busy festive football period. So grab a mince pie and a brew and let Steve Claridge and Kevin Kilbane sing you a carol, or at least tell you all about the action and incidents taking place this afternoon. So let's first bring you right up to date with what's happening in the Premier League today. And it was a good start of the day for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's penalty after an hour was enough to give Arsenal the 3 points in the lunchtime kickoff. Could this be the upset of the day, I wonder? Rock-bottom Reading are holding the champions so far. QPR are another struggling side on course for a very useful away point, 0-0 at St James's Park. Informed Southampton trail to Stephen Fletcher's 8th goal of the campaign. Little festive cheer on offer, I'm afraid, at White Hart Lane. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Stoke City 0. It's West Bromwich Albion 1, Norwich City 1. Zoltan Gera cancelled out Norwich City's opener by Robert Snodgrass. And Everton have just taken the lead through Stephen Pienaar. Carlton Cole gave West Ham the lead, but has been sent off for a foul on Leighton Baines. There have been quite a few games postponed because of the weather today, but let's get more information on the matches that are taking place. And we're starting at the Premier League at Upton Park,
where West Ham now trail Everton by 2-1, and their afternoon has unravelled in the space of 7 minutes. The equaliser from Victor Anichebe, the highly controversial sending off of Carlton Cole, followed by the second Everton goal. Leon Osman shrugging off the challenge of Mark Tompkins inside the penalty area, and his low cross deflecting first off the West Ham defender Matt Taylor onto Stephen Pienaar, and the ball almost apologetically bobbled into the net. The West Ham crowd chanting 2-1 to the referee. They're not happy, and neither is Big Sam.
Absolutely, they are not happy at Upton Park. You're right there. Damian Johnson at the Etihad Stadium. Roberto Mancini talking in the papers today about possibly being top on New Year's Day. They've got to beat the likes of Reading.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to be saying that after today's game. It's 0-0, and the Premier League's bottom club, Reading, are, 15 minutes away from a battling point as Pogrebniak goes close, saved by Joe Hart. Yeah, but it would put a real spanner in City's hopes of retaining the title. The champions haven't been able to break down Reading, despite monopolising possession. Reading have defended resolutely. City's openings have been half chances on the whole. Edin Dzeko, the man who so often does for City, off the bench, is on as a second-half sub. He went close with a header, but it remains, frustratingly for City, 0-0.
Where would Sunderland be without Stephen Fletcher, Lawrence Herdman?
Well, indeed, Jason, Sunderland still leading Southampton by 1-0 into the final quarter of an hour. Stephen Fletcher's goal just before the interval. Saints have made a couple of changes. Emmanuel Mayuka off, a quiet game. Belgian winger Steve de Ridder on. Stephen Davis also on for Morgan Schneidlin. Campbell and another change as well for Sunderland just as well. Chances at a premium really for Southampton though. Jose Fonte's header's just gone wide. It was deflected behind off a Sunderland defender. The groans of frustration here really palpable, and it's a game that neither side can really afford to lose, but it's Southampton 0, Sunderland 1.
Let's take you to St James's Park and Harry's magic. Is it working, Paul Addison?
It is, Jason, so far. I just wonder what the word might be for 50,000 frustrated Geordie fans here, because their team has done everything but put the ball into the back of the net. Their play in the final third has been absolutely dreadful this afternoon. The possession statistics must be frightening in their favour, but yet they can't breach Robert Green's goal. Amongst the guilty parties, his Denver barn several occasions from very good free kick positions in and around the edge of the area. And Shola Amiobi, who's come on for Papi Cisse in this second half, also fluffed his lines when he had a good chance with a header. Will it go in for Newcastle, or will Harry Redknapp work his magic and earn a point? It's still 0-0.
To the SPL this week for Celtic fans, it's all been about Juventus and that big draw in the Champions League last 16 today. It's all about Ross County. Ailey Barber.
Yes, and it looked like they were suffering a little bit of a hangover from possible celebrations after getting Juventus in that first 45 minutes. But this second half has been a different story. 4-0 to the Scottish champions at the moment. James Forrest sealing the fourth in his first game back after being out for 2 months with an injury. Also his first goal of the season, so certainly back with a bang for Celtic, and it's 4-0 to the champions.
Thank you. And to Steve Lee at St Andrews. What a turnaround. What a second half performance from Burnley.
Yes, it has been. It's Birmingham 1, Burnley 2, and at 66 minutes Birmingham were leading through a Curtis Davies header, and they looked fairly comfortable. Within 3 minutes the whole game has been turned on its head. First Danny Ings virtually walked the ball in for 1-1, and then an absolutely copybook free kick from Ross Wallace. Really good free kick, beat Jack Butland in the goal. It's 2-1 Burnley.
And to Ellen Road, Peter Slater.
Yeah, Leeds United leading Middlesbrough 2-1. Middlesbrough have had more chances, but Luciano Becchio scored twice for Leeds. His second, a clean header from an El Hadji Diouf corner. To recap briefly, his first went in off both posts just before half-time, and all that after Lukas Jutkiewicz put Borough in front. Must just mention one substitution. Neil Warnock's brought on David Sommer, the South Africa international. He's not played for 18 months after a serious knee injury. We wish him well. It's Leeds 2, Middlesbrough 1.
Lots of goals in the Championship and loads for Mark Webber at London Road.
Oh, yes, indeed. Peterborough United 4, Bolton Wanderers 2. Like your generous granny at Christmas, this game has been a bounty of gifts in the form of goals. Bolton ceded 2 goals within 4 minutes, and Peterborough gratefully accepted. Bolton scared the locals like a panto villain with 2 Keith Andrews penalties. The ref said they were penalties. The crowd said, oh no, they weren't. The posh fans worried, but they knew they could land victory again. Mark Little has wellied the ball to restate a 2-goal cushion. It's nervous times at both ends. 4-2.
Thank you, Mark. Not many goals in League One because lots of games being called off. It's dreadful weather out there, but a big goal at Crawley for Simon Mann.
Yeah, it came 18 minutes from the end. It's scored again by Tony McMahon. He scored a free kick in the first half from about 28 yards from the right-hand side of the penalty. That was a fine goal. This was even better, 30 yards out, dead centre, and he curled it into the top corner. Fantastic goal. And it's been that sort of pitch, really. It's a set-piece pitch, not easy for the players. And at the moment, Sheffield United are heading top of the table. They lead by 2-0 thanks to 2 fine free kicks from Tony McMahon.
And let's take you back to the Premier League. West Bromwich Albion taking on Norwich City. Andrew James.
It's a very good time to come if you're a West Bromwich Albion supporter, because they've just taken the lead and they've scored with Romelu Lukaku, and they've come from behind to do it of West Brom. Robert Snodgrass had given Norwich the first half lead with a free kick which Foster, back in the Albion side today, should have saved. Zoltan Gera then equalised on the stroke of half-time, the first West Brom goal in almost 6 hours of football. And now, with less than 10 minutes to go of normal time, Lukaku, the man on a season-long loan from Chelsea, has put West Brom in front. West Brom 2, Norwich City 1.
And it is a brilliant header. And there's a goal at St James's Park, Newcastle United.
Yes, Jason, they've done it at last after all of that pressure, and it is Shola Amiobi who came off the bench in the second half to replace the misfiring Papi Cisse, who has scored the goal for the Magpies. Another substitute, Sylvain Marval, made a run to the edge of the area. His shot was blocked. It came to Amiobi, who stroked it in for his first goal of the season. And how important could that be for Alan Pardew and Newcastle United? They lead by 1-0.
Well, we've just seen 2 great finishes. Let's have a chat to our 2 wise men then. Good afternoon, Kevin. Good afternoon, Steve. Good to see you. Newcastle have been knocking on the door, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. You know, the changes made with Cisse took him off to try and give them a different dimension. And you've got to say, Santon come inside on his right foot, playing left back. He likes to come inside and try to create things. He's found Amiobi. And Amiobi then checks back on his left foot and finished it really, really well. It was a brilliant finish by Amiobi. And, you know, we talk about the super subs today. It's been a bit of a theme of the show, hasn't it? But he's another one that's come off the bench so often for Newcastle and produced the goods.
He's 31.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, you know, he was still sort of like, because he hasn't played the amount of games that you expect, but he's been around for so long. I was amazed when someone said he was 31 years old.
And a great header at West Brom, Lukaku.
It was
brilliant
fantastic
finish, isn't it?
It was. I mean, you know, they've struggled to score goals of late. I think it's been 3, 4, 5 hours, I think it has. So that'll be a welcome relief for them. Sultan Gira gets them back in the game after they've gone a goal down. Lots of character, lots of spirit to come back, especially when you're not scoring goals and you go a goal down in the game. And I think, to be fair, they've just about edged that one.
OK, into the Championship, we have a goal at the Den. Tony Lockwood.
And it's been scored by Chris Wood. He's on loan from West Bromwich Albion. It's his 11th goal, and Millwall want to make the signing permanent in the January transfer window. This after Stephen Dawson had scored for a struggling Barnsley side to set up what could have been one of the shock scorelines in the Championship. But Chris Wood could have been enough to give a Millwall side, who have really struggled this afternoon, a point. It's 1-1.
Talking of great character, that will be a terrific point if Kenny Jackett's side can hold on there. And let's go to White Hart Lane. Tottenham Hotspur, Stoke City. Tony Husband.
Well, the Premier League's meanest defence is holding Spurs at bay here. The home side have had lots of pressure in the second half, but they haven't been able to really unlock Tony Pulis' side. A typically resilient back four display from Stoke, and occasionally trying to catch Tottenham Hotspur on the break as well. Spurs coming into this having won 4 of their last 5, with aspirations to go third by the end of the day, but they've been thwarted all game, really. The likes of Gareth Bale and Jermaine Defoe have been left to shoot from distance, and the best chance of the whole game really came in the very first minute when Kenwyne Jones was presented with the ball just on the edge of the penalty area, and he put it high and wide. Former Spurs favourite Peter Crouch is on the field for Stoke. Possibly he's on to try and nick a late winner. 5 minutes to go, goalless in the rain.
And in the day's early kick-off, it finished Wigan Athletic 0, Arsenal 1. Watched by Steve Bauer. We were hoping to bring you that report, but unfortunately we don't have it, unfortunately. So let's have a chat about Arsenal. Were you impressed with Arsenal today? Because, in fairness, Wigan dug in today.
They did. I mean, Wigan had a lot of possession. Wigan dominated possession, and it was a different sort of Arsenal performance from last Monday against Reading. So they took a lot of credit for the defence today. They defended really, really well throughout. Theo Walcott won the penalty. You know, it was one of those where it can go either way, but he got the wrong side of the defender, went over and got the penalty, and Mikel Arteta took the chance. So really good result for Arsenal today, because I think that they weren't at the best, but they've shown that they've a different side to the game today that hadn't been shown in recent weeks.
What's your view, Steve, of the penalty?
Well, he gets across him, obviously, and you know, that's what you're told as kids. You know, if you get clear of someone, always come across them, particularly in the area, because there is there's a great chance that there will be contact. The defender hasn't meant to make contact, but just by going across him, that's happened and he's brought him down. I think Roberto Martinez was also complaining that there was a possible penalty should have been given their way, which was also a case where you could have said, you know, the ball was struck at the player, he's going to protect himself, but he's brought his arm in front of him, it's hit his arm. Well, is that a penalty? So I can see where Roberto Martinez wasn't overly pleased about the couple of refereeing decisions in that game, but as he said, the big turning point was the Kone miss in the first half, because there weren't a great deal of chances in that game.
OK, we have another goal for Mark Webber at London Road.
Glad tidings of great joy I bring for Peterborough fans. Peterborough 5, Bolton 2. Zakwani hanging out on the far post and headed in for the corner. Fantastic goal. Peterborough 5, Bolton 2.
And let's go to the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City. Damian Johnson.
Well, it's Reading who are pressing for a goal here. Kebe produced a terrific run down the right-hand side, put it across the area. Pogrebniak was just too short to stretch out a long leg and direct it goalwards. Pearce has had a header just wide, increasing frustration for the home fans. 1 or 2 of them streaming for the exits now. They've more or less given up the ghost. 4 minutes to go. It remains Manchester City, the champions, 0. The Premier League's bottom side, Reading, 0.
And Newcastle United have a chance, Paul Addison.
They do. There's a free kick right on the edge of the area, Jason. Foul. Clint Hill was booked a little earlier on for dragging down Demba Ba, but this is a different free kick. It's right on the edge of the area. Of course, Newcastle lead by that Shola Amiobi goal to nil. The referee, Kevin Friend, is just talking to the Queen's Park Rangers wall to make sure they are back the 10 yards. Newcastle's fans, of course, in and around St James's Park wanted a penalty. It couldn't be much closer. Referee now just stepping backwards. It's going to be Demba Ba to take this one. You just stay with us while he does attempt to score. He's missed so many free kicks this afternoon. In fact, it isn't Ba. Instead, it's Sylvain Marvel, but it went just wide of Robert Green's right-hand post. It remains Newcastle 1, QPR 0.
Sunderland have won just one of their last 16 away games. Today, is it the day, Lawrence Herdman?
Well, Southampton are pushing desperately for a late equaliser here. Jason, we've got just under 2 minutes left. A corner to the home side. They're throwing the kitchen sink at Martin O'Neill's side. They pushed all three substitutes on now. Davis, De Prado, and the corner about to be taken. Sunderland, though, still a big threat on the counter-attack. James McLean's been influential on the flank, and Gardner twice has tested Davis in the home goal. His long-range shot stuck in Davis's knees at one point. It's a desperate finish here. It is still Southampton 0, Sunderland 1.
Peterborough United put in the performance of the Championship last week, beating the leaders Cardiff City, and today, Mark Webber, they've been terrific.
Well, Bolton haven't been bad either, and they've just got another one. Benik Afobe on as a sub, left on the post, header in, 5-3. I hope I am on a paper goal deal here, Jason, because that's Christmas well and truly paid for.
Tony Husband at White Hart Lane, let's get an update from you. And was there a big penalty shout for Gareth Bale?
There was a penalty shout. We've only seen one replay of it so far. It was Cameron Jerome on Gareth Bale. He was about to pull the trigger, left-footed in the penalty area. The first replay we've seen suggested Jerome did get a touch to it, but Bale went down, he threw his arms up in the air. He felt that he should have had a spot kick, but the referee Lee Mason waved away Spurs' protestations. Closing stages now almost about to go into stoppage time, and Spurs still trying to find a way through.
Terrific game at Upton Park. Chances at both ends, Nigel Adderley.
Yes, but West Ham could have equalised a few moments ago. Captain Kevin Nolan played clean through, but he dragged his shot into the side netting. Just before that, he also saw a volley deflected wide with Tim Howard beaten. But Everton also had the chance to wrap it up. Jussi Jääskeläinen pushing out a loose ball inside the area. Nikiki Jelic, 4 yards out, put it wide.
Norwich City players accusing some West Bromwich Albion players of time wasting by the looks of it, Andrew James?
Yes, there's a bit of that going on. You can't really blame West Brom, I suppose. West Brom 2-1 up. The goals from Zoltan Gira with the equaliser, and then Lukaku's header a few moments ago after Robert Snodgrass had given Norwich the lead. Hugely significant. Norwich's 10-game unbeaten run in the Premier League seemingly coming to an end. And West Brom, who haven't won, it'll be their first win in 5, back on course. It's a tough set of fixtures coming up for Norwich as well. They've got Chelsea and Man City still to come, but they're still in this one. They trail, though, by 2-1.
Into the Championship, what of the leaders, Cardiff City? They're at Leicester City, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, Leicester were utterly dominant in an opening burst in which they could have scored 6 or 7 were it not for David Marshall and 3 times the woodwork. Yet how typical that Cardiff withstood that bombardment, and even more typical that Mr. Cardiff, Craig Bellamy, it was who should break away and volley home Conway's cutback to what looks like pinch it for Cardiff. If you'll excuse the festive reference, well, I can't help myself. It knocked the stuffing out of Leicester, and Cardiff's presence at the top of the Christmas tree in the Championship looks assured with 5 to go.
It looks like there's another red card at Upton Park. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment after another goal for Mark Webber.
I absolutely can't believe what I'm seeing here. We are in for a grandstand finish. Peterborough 5, Bolton Wanderers 4. A left post blaster from Petrov. Both sides want to play, Jason. There's no end to this one.
We're going to go to West Ham United because there has been another red card. It's, by the look of it, Darren Gibson, Nigel Adderley.
It is. It's now 10 against 10, and it's another very controversial decision from Anthony Taylor. In many ways, similar to Carlton Cole's earlier on. It was a high challenge on Mark Noble, but 2 players going for the ball in midfield, and now the whole ground, both Everton and West Ham supporters, are chanting towards the referee. You don't know what you're doing.
What was your view of that?
I don't think it was. I think he's gone to basically try and clear the ball as best he could, Darren Gibson. And again, I think Noble's just come across him. Similar to the other one, his boot was high and to me, it doesn't look like he's left anything on him, but he's caught him and it's a foul. But that's it for me.
It's a yellow card?
Yellow card, maybe.
Card.
I don't think that's a red
What's
card.
happening to the game, Steve, where players can't go for balls like that?
I think there's a little bit more in that one.
That's a red, is it?
Well, he can see the player. He can see how high the ball is. Carlton Cole couldn't. The ball was coming over Carlton Cole's head, and as he's turned, the player's emerged out of his eye line. This one, Gibson can see it. He's gone for a challenge.
But doesn't Kevin make the point that Noble's coming that way?
No, but Gibson's facing him, he can see, so he goes for the challenge across him, and also I think he also leaves his foot, and there's a little bit of after, so there's certainly more in that, and if you've got a much stronger case for sending off there than you have the other one.
Well, again, I mean, with him making the decision on the other one, he has to go. He has to go with that. He's got to make the same call. I mean, but there's been 2 or 3 incidents in this game, real controversial decisions that the referees made, and it's cost both teams.
Everton have missed some good chances as well.
No, they have. Jelic has missed 2 or 3 good chances. Distan's missed a really good chance in the first half. And obviously they have the disallowed goal.
Wow, it's a goal for Damien Johnson at the Etihad Stadium. An unlikely, perhaps, winner, Damien.
At the death, City have their winner, and as you say, an unlikely source. Gareth Barry with his first goal of the season. It looked like Reading were going to hang on for a battling point and end their 6-game losing streak. But a ball in from the left-hand side. There was Barry, as I say, hasn't scored all season, rose highest and buried the chance past Federici. In the dying seconds, injury time in fact, City have taken the lead. They lead 1-0.
He's climbing all over the centre-back.
I think what he's done is he's attacked the ball, the defenders recognised him and backed in, so his momentum was taking him forward there. But he's got his hand on, I think it's Ian Hart at the far post.
Steve, what's your view of that? Do you think referees might give a free kick there?
I think the defender actually sees him coming and makes an arch rather than actually standing strong, getting his arm up and trying to head the ball away. So I think it's poor defending. He wants it more, Barry, in that situation. That's all it is.
It's over at Upton Park. Take a deep breath, Nigel Adderley.
Yeah, players from both sides are going towards Anthony Taylor, the referee. There's a lot of head shaking and finger pointing after a match which has been dominated by the officials in many ways. From the moment Leon Osman had a header disallowed for Everton early on, Victor Anichebe was accused of impeding Jussi Jääskeläinen by the assistant referee. Within 2 minutes, Carlton Cole had given West Ham United the lead with a low shot after turning inside John Heitinger. But West Ham's afternoon fell apart completely in the space of 7 second-half minutes. Victor Anichebe heading home the equaliser from Stephen Pienaar's cross. Hear the boos now for the referee. Carlton Cole was then dismissed for a high challenge on Leighton Baines. Both appeared to only have eyes for the ball, and then quickly after that, while West Ham were still sorting themselves out, Leon Osman shrugged off Tompkins down the left, and his cross deflected into the net by Stephen Pienaar by Matt Taylor, the West Ham midfielder. Everton finished with 10 men as well. Darren Gibson with a high foot on Mark Noble, and I think the punditry on West Ham on this game tonight, on Match of the Day, should be very, very interesting.
Yes, and big smiles at St Mary's Lawrence Herdman for those Sunderland players.
Yes, it's the North East contingent happy here, Jason. Southampton 0, Sunderland 1. A vital win for Sunderland against their fellow strugglers. A performance full of character and fully merited by Martin O'Neill's side. The winning goal arriving just before half-time. Top scorer Stephen Fletcher with a calm, close-range finish after Adam Johnson's cutback diverted into the Scotland international's path by Sessegnon's miss-hit. Southampton looked rusty, really, after a 2-week layoff. Ricky Lambert's early free kick narrowly wide. Captain Jose Font's header deflected just past a post just after half-time. But Sunderland created more chances in that second period as well. Gardner's cross shot just eluded Fletcher at the far post, and Gardner again with a stinging long-ranger that stuck in the knees of Kelvin Davis in the home goal. Southampton's mini revival is over. It leaves Nigel Adkins' side looking nervously over the shoulder, but Sunderland with a big 3 points heading into the festive programme. Southampton 0, Sunderland 1.
And talking...
But the referee, Mike Dean, wasn't interested in that. The ball buried past Federici, and City claim a vital 3 points, but it's going to be a poor Christmas for Reading.
But it's a big win for Alan Pardew, Paul Addison.
It certainly is, Jason. It is a massive 3 points for Newcastle United, and the relief here at St James's Park is palpable. Of course, it means that Harry Redknapp has been defeated for the first time as Queen's Park Rangers manager. It took so long for Newcastle to make the breakthrough here this afternoon. They had the majority of the possession in this match, but they just couldn't get the ball into the back of the Queen's Park Rangers net. Guilty parties in the first half included Papi, Cisse and Demba Ba time and time again, as in particular Jonas Gutierrez raided down the left and provided the ammunition. The ball ended up more than enough times in the Gallagher end. They did strike gold though on 80 minutes. Shola Amiobi on as a substitute and charged with the task of trying to get that goal. He did so with a beautiful finish and sent Tyneside home delirious tonight. An early Christmas present for Alan Pardew and the first setback for Harry Redknapp. Newcastle 1, QPR 0.
And a very welcome Christmas gift for Steve Clarke. Andrew James.
Yes, indeed. West Bromwich Albion 2, Norwich City 1. The match-winning goal from Lukaku. Shades of Cyril Regis about that for the fans here at the Hawthorns. A real bullet header, but testimony to Steve Clarke and his tactical know-how. He already had Odembwingie and Lukaku on for the first half, but for the second half he also sent on alongside them Fortuné and Shane Long, and it really proved too much for Norwich, who'd bossed the first half but had no answer really to Norwich's threat in front of goal. It's the end of Norwich's magnificent 10-match unbeaten run. Home games against Chelsea and Manchester City to come for them, but for West Brom, Christmas has come early with 3 valuable points to end their dismal sequence. West Brom 2, Norwich 1.
Excellent win for West Brom then. Spurs have a habit of scoring late goals at White Hart Lane. Not today, Tony Husband.
No, not today. Frustration for Spurs, who could have gone third with a win, but despite a lot of possession and a lot of pressure, they rarely opened Stoke up, and when they did, Asmir Begovic kept them at bay. He made a great save to deny Gylfi Sigurdsson a winner in stoppage time. Typical Stoke in many ways, organised, very efficient, hoping to snatch something on the break, and Spurs, even with the talents of Lennon, Bale and Defoe on the field, couldn't break them down. For much of the game, the best chance actually belonged to Stoke. Kenwyne Jones spurning a glorious opportunity in the opening minute. Loris denied Etherington 2 in a close first half. As the rain poured down though after the break, Spurs pressed. Stoke were like a sponge though. They soaked it all up to claim a point they deserved for all their endeavour. 0-0.
Let's take you to the Championship and the game of the day. Ivan Gaskell.
25,000 here, but it's the 2,000 Cardiff fans who are celebrating. Their team withstood Leicester's early bombardment before Craig Bellamy, who else, popped up to volley home what proved to be the first half winner. They had to hold on for an awful long time, but hold on they did. It's the sort of victory upon which promotions are built.
Well, that was the game of the day on paper. In reality, Mark Webber, you were the lucky boy.
Peterborough United 5, Bolton Wanderers 4. No turkey this game. A Christmas cracker with more goals than you could shake a stick at. Please refer to the screen, dear viewer, for the full list of scorers. The Posh got 2 quick ones at the start, but Bolton, buoyed by 2 penalties, just seemed to match them. 22 men, man oh man. The scoreline says Peterborough United 5, Bolton Wanderers 4, but football's the winner.
And I'm sure that BBC Radio 5 Live would love to hear from Peterborough United and Bolton Wanderers fans today. Mark Chapman and Robbie Savage will be with you for 6:06 on 5 Live. It's a great show. And sticking with 5 Live, commentary on Chelsea against Villa tomorrow afternoon. That's from 4 o'clock. In a moment, we'll have all the reaction to today's games from managers and players after a full check on the day's results with Mike West.
And starting with the Barclays Premier League, the match between Liverpool and Fulham is an evening kick-off at 5:30. Manchester City 1, Reading 0. Newcastle United 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Southampton 0, Sunderland 1. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Stoke City 0. West Bromwich Albion 2, Norwich City 1. West Ham United 1, Everton 2. And Wigan Athletic 0, Arsenal 1. On to the Empire Championship. Birmingham City 2, Burnley 2. The match between Blackburn Rovers and Brighton and Hove Albion, match postponed. Crystal Palace against Huddersfield Town is an evening kick-off at 5:20. Ipswich Town 1, Bristol City 1. Leeds United 2, Middlesbrough 1. Leicester City 0, Cardiff City 1. Millwall 1, Barnsley 2. Peterborough United 5, Bolton Wanderers 4. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Charlton Athletic 0. And Watford 2, Nottingham Forest 0. The Empire League 1, the match between Brentford and Stevenage, postponed. Coventry City 1, Preston North End 1. Crawley Town 0, Sheffield United 2. The games between Crewe Alexandra and AFC Bournemouth, Doncaster Rovers and Milton Keynes Dons, Hartlepool United against Portsmouth, Notts County against Leyton Orient, and Scunthorpe United against Carlisle United, all postponed. Walsall 1, Colchester United 0. And Yeovil Town 4, Oldham Athletic 1. In the Empire League 2, just 2 matches escaped the weather today. Accrington Stanley 1, Plymouth Argyle 1. And Northampton Town 2, Aldershot Town 0. In the Blue Square Bet Premier, just 1 match played. Kidderminster 5, Dartford 1. Into Scotland and the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 2, St Johnstone 0. Celtic 4, Ross County 0. And Inverness Caledonian Thistle 4, Dundee 1. The Iron Brew Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United 1, Falkirk 4, Cowdenbeath 1, Livingston 1. And Dumbarton against Wraith Rovers, match postponed. The Scottish Division 2, Alloa Athletic 2, Forfar Athletic 1. Brechin City against Ayr United, match postponed. And East Fife 3, Stenhousemuir 2. The Scottish Division 3, the game between Berwick Rangers and Queen's Park, match postponed. East Stirlingshire 2, Annan Athletic 2. Elgin City 2, Rangers 6. And Stirling Albion 1, Peterhead 0. In the Corbett Sports Welsh Premier, the game between Bala Town and Bangor City, match postponed. And Prestatyn Town 1, Newtown 2 is a latest score. Finally, the Danske Bank Irish Premiership, where again just 1 match played today, and that finished Crusaders 2, Linfield 2.
So this is how the Barclays Premier League looks tonight. Manchester United's lead has been halved for now by neighbours City. Sir Alex Ferguson's side play their game in hand at Swansea City tomorrow. Arsenal, Everton, West Brom all won to join Tottenham Hotspur on 30 points. Chelsea will go third by beating Aston Villa tomorrow. At the bottom, Reading are in a right royal mess, and QPR are not in a regal position either, are they? Wigan remain in the relegation zone. Sunderland and Newcastle move above Aston Villa. This is the top of the Championship. Cardiff City will spend Christmas as the Championship's pace setters after winning at playoff-chasing Leicester City. Their advantage over second-placed Hull is 3 points, although Crystal Palace will close to within 2 points if they beat Huddersfield in the late kick-off. Middlesbrough lost at improving Leeds to lose ground. Terrific game at Peterborough. 5-4 win over Bolton. Not enough to lift Posh off the bottom. That's because Bristol City drew at fellow strugglers Ipswich. Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley both won to close in on the clubs above them. Sheffield United took advantage of Tranmere's slip-up last night to take over as the new leaders. The Blades are now 2 points clear at the top following victory at Crawley. Elsewhere, Yeovil enjoyed a comfortable home win to move 3 places to 11th, 6 points outside the playoff places. At the bottom, none of the bottom 4 were in action due to the bad weather, so it's as you were at the bottom. Walsall beat Colchester to leave the U's just 2 points above the relegation places. Only 2 fixtures withstood the rain, so there has been little movement in the table. Northampton were the highest placed side in action. They move to within a point of the playoff places. At the bottom, Aldershot and Plymouth remain 4th and 5th from bottom respectively, although Argyle at least earned a point at Accrington today. Grimsby went top of the table last night after beating fellow promotion hopefuls Wrexham. Kidderminster saw off Dartford in the division's only game to survive the weather and move above their opponents into 6th. And obviously unchanged at the wrong end of the table, Barrow, Nuneaton, Ebbsfleet, Southport will spend Christmas in the relegation places. Top of the SPL looks like this. Celtic have extended their lead to 5 points, courtesy of a 4th successive win, combined with defeat last night for Motherwell. Inverness, Caledonian Thistle move up to 2nd. At the bottom, Dundee and Ross County both suffered heavy away defeats this afternoon. Right, let's talk to Jonathan Pearce, who was at the Etihad for Manchester City's win, and they left it very, very late today, JP.
They certainly did. 3rd minute of stoppage time when Gareth Barry got into the far post to end a lovely sweeping move. Milner away forward towards Dzeko, out to the left-hand side. Zabaleta and Silva combining. In came the cross and Barry headed home. Reading at times with a 6-man defence had held Manchester City at bay. A couple of scuffed half attempts. Tevez foiled in the first half by a goalkeeper. But Reading will claim that Barry climbed on Shorey for the winning goal. They'll also claim that Jay Tab was fouled by Rekic, the debutant left back for Manchester City. I think referee Mike Dean got them both right. And the key thing to look at when you watch Match of the Day tonight, Nicky Shorey's reaction. Reading players were appealing for a foul all around him. Shorey wasn't. And Manchester City, at the last gasp, have a vital win here.
JP, good man, thank you very much indeed. That's exactly what you both said.
Yeah, it was almost like, I think he wanted it more. There's no doubt about that. As the ball's come across, the defender needs to stand his ground and go and attack the ball. He doesn't. He just sort of stands there and he almost sort of goes like that as if to make an arc. And Gareth Barry just attacks the ball. And simply because of his momentum, he goes over the top. But it's because the defender has made an arch rather than that. And it's a good finish in the end. And let's be honest, probably keeps the title race alive. Because if they drop that and Man United were to win, they go 8 clear. You are really. I know they're 8 clear last time, but the way things are going, it's struggling to make it.
Well, it's over to Manchester United now, and they go to the Liberty Stadium tomorrow, of course, Kevin. But I suppose there are 2 ways of looking at this. It's either the mark of champions, that you never know the game is over and you get a late winner, or they weren't at their best today against Reading, and you've got to beat the likes of Reading when they're struggling at the foot of the table, if indeed you are going to retain the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, considering we talked about Reading's performance against Arsenal, they had to change things around, they had to do things differently today, and they were just stubborn. They stopped Man City playing, made it difficult for them to get in behind, to create any width in the game. And really, Reading did a good job on them today. And the goal at the end has come as, that's the sort of goal, a last-minute goal or an injury-time goal. It lifts spirits, it lifts the club, it lifts the team. Now, can they respond? And City, can they go on through the Christmas period now and stay with United? Because it's a big ask, but, I think they've got a really, really good chance now with that win.
What do you think, Steve?
Well, I think there were certainly more negatives than positives that came out of that. When you think of the amount of chances, they only created probably 1 chance and 1/2 chance in the whole game, Man City. They'll be coming out of that thinking, and a lot of people watching that game will be thinking, are they better than Man United? On that evidence, certainly not.
You said they were lacking width today.
They did. I looked at the team and I said to my compatriot, I said, I don't fancy that side. There was no width. There was three centre midfielders and Silva doesn't want to play wide. And all Reading did was pack the central areas and just stifle them at every opportunity. And as I said, they created very, very little in this game.
OK, right. We're going to talk to Steve Wilson now, who was at Upton Park today for a feisty game, I think it's fair to say, Steve. And there are so many talking points that we could chat with you about. What was your view, Steve, of the 2 red cards?
Well, it wasn't just the 2 red cards, really. I thought they were both extremely unfortunate. Carlton Cole, I was astonished when Carlton Cole got a red card. I think everybody was. Referee Anthony Taylor, having decided that warranted a red card, then sent Darren Gibson off for a similar challenge in stoppage time. He'd made that rule for himself. Gibson probably had to go by that rule, but Carlton's Cole red card was astonishing. Prior to that, Everton had a goal disallowed when it was still 0-0. A Leighton Baines corner was headed in by Leon Osman. Jääskeläinen and Anichebe made a tiny bit of contact with each other. Referee's assistant on this near side, Gary Bezic, put his flag up and Anthony Taylor ruled the goal out. I know we have to protect goalkeepers to a certain degree, but that was an absolute nonsense. It was a very bad day for officials today. The only thing that you would say is that Perhaps Everton edged it and deserved to win it in the end, so the result might have been right, but how we got to that result was all wrong. 3 big calls today, and I think the officials got them all wrong.
Thanks, Steve. And you can make your own mind up tonight on Match of the Day, of course. I'm looking forward to hearing David Moyes and Sam Allardyce and their views. As soon as we get those interviews, we'll bring them to you right here. Do you agree with Steve, though, that over the 90 minutes, aside from the red cards, Everton just shaded it today?
I think Everton were excellent today. I really do think that. Leon Osman played really well for Everton in the middle of the park. He just picking up areas where West Ham couldn't get near him, really, and he created the last goal. Pino obviously creating the Anachibi goal as well. The Everton shaded it, I think. Jelavic missed 2 or 3 really good chances. Distan missed a really good chance.
Which is unusual for Jelavic.
Yeah, well, Jelavic this season hasn't been showing the form he showed in the latter part of last season. So this season he's not in top form. He's not in real good goal-scoring form. He scored the other week against Tottenham, and I thought that might have kicked him on and got him going again. So he'll be disappointed with the chances that he missed today. But I think Everton did shade it, yeah.
Steve Wilson there, Steve Claridge, says, bad day for the officials. Agree?
Well, it was difficult to understand some of the decisions. I mean, you've got a linesman who's making a decision, where he's a good 30, 35 yards away from it, and he's also, in line with the 2 players. And I think that's why Osman has gone to the referee to complain and thought, actually, no, the referee hasn't made a decision. He's got to go right from one side of the penalty area right to the other side of the pitch to argue with the linesman, which didn't make an awful lot of sense. Certainly the first sending off I thought was a farce. The second one was probably a booking. There was more of a case to be sent off, but certainly it was harsh in its own.
But as you said, the ref there has set a precedent for himself.
Well, that was his problem. I mean, there were
He's got himself into a hole, hasn't he?
Very similar incidents, although I think Carlton Cole didn't see the player that he actually caught, whereas I think Gibson did. That was the only difference for me.
OK, let's go to the Etihad then and hear from Roberto Mancini.
Roberto, a victory. You had to wait a long time for it to come.
We had the chance. When you have a chance and you don't score after the game, it's difficult. But I should say that they play well, they defend with all players behind the ball. It's difficult. In this game, you need to score the first half. If you score 1 goal, change the game. When we had the chance, we didn't score. In the end, it was really difficult.
A surprising scorer, Gareth Barry.
No, I'm not surprised because sometimes Gareth scores. Usually scored an important goal.
How important was it to be patient this afternoon?
Not like this, but we had passion. But I think that we in this game you should be patient. But when the opponent defends with all players behind the goal, behind the ball, and you have a chance in the first half and you don't score, you have a chance and you don't score, after this could be a big problem.
I think Reading are unhappy with the goal. They feel that that Barry may have impeded the defender.
I don't think. Absolutely
not. We'll find out what Brian McDermott has to say about that in just a moment. But let's now talk to Guy Mowbray, who was at Newcastle today at St James's Park for Match of the Day. Guy, good to see you. So, did you see enough today from Newcastle United to perhaps see a change in the new year?
Not really, Jason. In fact, I didn't see enough of much, quite frankly. It was an awful game, this. I said at the start of the commentary that games in these conditions can go one of 2 ways. It can be an absolute stinker, or mistakes and slipping and sliding can lead to a goal fest. Well, I'm afraid it was the former. We had, for my money, 1 bit of quality all match. Shola Amiobi provided it, brought on as a substitute. Interestingly, to a terrible reaction, not for him, but because the Newcastle public weren't happy that Alan Pardew was taking off Papi Cisse, who'd just gone reasonably close. But Amiobi came on, and when he and Gabriel Oberton came on, and Sylvain Marvo a little later, Newcastle significantly stepped up their game. And Amiobi got the ball right edge of the penalty area, stepped inside one challenge, and a lovely curled finish into the opposite corner. And that was pretty much it. QPR offered very little indeed. I thought this was a game when Newcastle, the run they've been on, 60 defeats in 7 games before today, might be there for the taking, and QPR could pick up possibly all 3 points from this, especially after their win last week. But they just didn't offer anything going forward. I can't think of a save that Tim Krul really had to make, certainly not a significant one. Newcastle didn't play well, but the result is all important, and the cheers at the end here, they were all about relief.
Yeah, as you say, Guy, QPR showed a lot of character, a lot of desire, a lot of spirit that perhaps you didn't see under Mark Hughes at the beginning of the season. And I saw one QPR attack where they get out wide, they put a ball in the box and there's nobody there.
Yeah, Djibril Cissé was trying his best. He was on his own pretty much, and he had to keep pulling wide to get the ball. Tarap stayed wide for a lot of the game. He just wasn't the sort of threat that he was a week ago. And I just got the feeling as the game wore on that they were going to be happy with 1 point to take back, because a point wouldn't have been bad. It would have kept them 7 points, I beg your pardon, behind Newcastle. Almost sort of within catching distance with the games to come up over Christmas. But now with Newcastle winning and Sunderland winning today, that's a 10 and 9 point gap respectively to Queen's Park Rangers. That's an awful lot to make up. So yeah, big defeat for them today. It just shows you the sort of job that Harry Redknapp, he's under no illusions. He knew that he had to do when he came in, and there's a long, long way for them to fight yet.
Yeah, Guy, thank you very much indeed. And you can get reaction to that game and all the day's other action, especially that game at Upton Park. Terrific game there in Match of the Day tonight. Gabby's in the hot seat alongside Robbie Savage and Alan Hansen. 10:25 BBC One, BBC One HD. And Match of the Day 2 tomorrow brings you Swansea City against Manchester United, Chelsea against Aston Villa. And, of course, the BBC is the place for all your festive football. Final score and Match of the Day back on Boxing Day with a very, very busy day of action in the Premier League and also in the Football League. So, what have we learned today then, Steve, about who possibly is going to end up in the Championship next season? Queen's Park Rangers, Reading, Wigan, all lost today?
Yeah, I mean, there's some big wins, but I think the bottom four all got beaten, didn't they? So, you know, that's difficult for everybody. Reading, he got it right today tactically. We're unlucky, you've got to say. QPR, as Guy said, offered very little today. I mean, that was, on paper, that was a really winnable game for them, or certainly a game where they could have got something out of them. But they looked as if they were more than happy with the 0-0. 2 banks of 4, no real support to Cissé, so that was disappointing. And obviously, you know, with Southampton getting beat by Sunderland, that was a huge result for Sunderland. So, yeah, the bottom four now, you just look at it and think, you know, will it be 3 of those 4?
OK, I want to bring you some reaction from the Reading manager, Brian McDermott, who's with Damien Johnson.
Brian, to lose that way must be a real kick in the guts.
Oh, I cannot believe that's happened to us. You know, that's not the first time that has happened to us this season. You know, it happened to us at Chelsea, happened to Southampton, happened at Wigan when we had a cert penalty. We had a cert penalty in that game, in my opinion. I've seen it back, and that goal at the end is just wrong. You know, he's on his back. There's nothing that Nicky Shorey could do, nothing he could do to defend against that. It is an absolute certain foul.
Have you spoken to the referee?
I've spoken to the referee. He said that he hung in the air. You know, you can hang in the air if you're on someone's back. The bottom line is that has got to be given. It's such a crucial stage, and you have to give that and get that decision right.
When you're down there, you tend not to get those decisions.
Well, that's irrelevant. That's nothing to do with it. You know, you've got to get those decisions right. It's nothing to do with being down there. Our players were absolutely terrific today. There was no fault of our players today. You know, they tactically were very, very good. They've come to this club, which is the champions, and they deserved a point. Absolutely certainty they deserved a clean sheet. I'm gutted for our players tonight.
He's gutted. He says it was a foul.
I saw it, Steve saw it as well. I think Gareth Barry wanted the ball. I think Nicky Shorey's seen Gareth Barry coming over his left shoulder, and he's just decided to check his run to try and put Gareth Barry off. But Gareth Barry had attacked the ball so well, his momentum would took him right over the top of him, and then all of a sudden his hand slightly leaning on Shorey towards the end. But I think it was a good header, and I think it was a good goal.
Thank you very much indeed. That's it from us on BBC One for this afternoon. Thanks to Steve and Kevin. We'll have more reaction on the Red Button and BBC Sport website until 6 o'clock. Do join us. Have a great Christmas. We'll see you on Boxing Day. Bye for now.